Hello everyone, my name is Owen Komo. Um, and this is my summary tip for machine learning techniques. I've built an LLM called FinLens, a financial chatbot, which helps assess how risky investing in an SME is, so a small and medium enterprise is, by looking at it's sort of like assets, debt, revenue, and other factors, other financial factors. So I've actually created a data set for this. It's still a work in progress. I've made a data set. Um, so I think this is a huge problem because in Africa there's so many small businesses. You go to the market, you see a lot of people with small businesses, and there's a lot of people who never get the opportunity to scale up because they are not getting invested in, or loans or anything like that. I doubt they even know where to start. So this is a serious issue in Africa. Even my mom at some point has had a small business. We're privileged, but I know people who couldn't get invested in, and it was really horrible to see. So having a system to filter all this quickly and just to know where to put your money and how, for investors and banks and all that into small businesses would be very helpful. Um, I've actually created a data set for this. It's still a work in progress. I've made a data set. Um, so so the data set consists of things like um, revenue, consists of things like debt, assets, current ratio, debt to asset ratio, net margin, and other things. So this is the risk distribution. There's three classes. So there's low risk, moderate risk, and high risk, right? These are the three classes, and this is a distribution of them. So each training example contains an instruction, a structured response, and a labeled risk category, as I've just mentioned, so that there's actual logic, financial logic, instead of something like overfitting or just memorizing examples. We don't want that, especially for something of this magnitude. So I fine-tuned a pre-trained transformer-based large language model. Um, this process includes tokenization of instruction response pairs, formatting prompts into structured financial evaluations, using Hugging Face's trainer API, configuring training arguments such as learning rates, epochs, batch size. So fine tuning allows the base LLM to specialize in financial risk analysis instead of generic text generation. This transforms it from general purpose into a domain specific. I like to call it an assistant because it's very helpful. Between the experiments was just the learning rate, everything else stayed the same, and the results were pretty stable. Um, so at first the training loss was quite high, but the training loss was quite high, but it eventually plateaued around zero point 0.1, which is good because it's low training loss, but it's also not overfitted. Um, so these were how the models performed based off of learning rate, which is the main difference, or these were the experiments. So not too much of a difference, but you can see that these two are slightly better. They perform slightly better. So yeah, so this is basically just an example of the model of like a response. So we're evaluating a small and medium enterprise, an SME, with a revenue of 200,000, debt of 150,000, assets of 250,000, current ratio of 0.8, and a net margin of 0.02. Um, Here, it's the model has determined that it's low risk for lending purpose. And we already have something here, but I'm just going to change it up. Let's say this is 300K. Change, and let's reduce the debt. Because as we can see here, so in this explanation, this is a high risk financial decision. So, um, you know, you're not as likely to get a return on your loan or your investment. So you wouldn't necessarily be advised to, invest. I'm just going to change the parameters a little bit. Increasing the revenue and reducing your debt. Let's submit it. Okay, so the system has still said that this is a high risk, um, and it gives reasons as well. So this is what I was talking about earlier. It gives explanations. It doesn't just tell you it's high risk. This business has a high debt asset ratio, implying it's not able to pay its debts on time. This may lead to risk in terms of asset loss, debt restructuring, and bankruptcy. So it gives you an explanation on everything. So I think that's pretty neat. Thank you so much for watching my demo video. My name is Oinwani Kuma, and you have just seen FinLens in action. I hope you liked it. I spent a lot of time building it and had a lot of fun. Um, Thank you.